Okay, I'm all set.
Towen, this is exactly the reason why we're supposed to have production meetings. I thought I was wearing blue.
Well, I just have like 2 shirts.
Fine, I'll change.
Oh, good. Much better.
Next time we discuss wardrobe.
Okay. Yeah, if you're wondering why I have this laptop here, it just felt weird to just sit like that. There's no table or anything, so I thought. Plus, I feel my opinions have more power when there's like a laptop for some reason.
Okay. So Telwyn is really good at saying, yeah, of course I want a kid. I love kids. Okay, but when do you want kids? In like 2 years. And he's been saying that for the last 2 years that I've known him. And at some point, we're just gonna need to make the decision that, okay, 2 years from this date, we're gonna have a baby.
Yeah, I was hoping she won't figure that out, but
No, I figured it out. So here comes the age-old question. Do we want kids? Do we need kids?
yeah, my question was, should we just have kids because everyone else has kids, our parents have had kids, and yeah, quite frankly, if they didn't, we wouldn't be here, so thank you for that. But it's something to be discussed. It shouldn't be like, yeah, everyone's having kids, so let's just pop a couple of them out too.
In such a modern age, I feel that not having kids is so much more socially acceptable. So now instead of people turning 23 and they're married and having kids, now it's much more of a decision if kids are going to fit into their lifestyle or not. And that's a perfectly okay decision not to have kids. But there are some major things that you need to think about when you're deciding if you should or shouldn't, or want or don't want kids. So what are the major points that you feel?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's gonna be a lot of work. We wake up at like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Now we might have to wake up at like 4 and change diapers. Who's gonna do that?
Well, that is something that I feel changes your motivation when you have kids.
And
because
this one does take a lot of naps, to be honest.
that's the thing. I enjoy waking up early on the Saturday, but maybe I'll wake up early and then take a nap at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And with kids, that lifestyle doesn't really go hand in hand. However, once you do have kids, your spirit changes and your priorities do change. So it's not particularly like you have a baby and then you just want to put it in a corner so you can take a nap.
Yeah, I hope the spirit changes are not actually frustrations that we went out on each other and this goes downhill.
I would hate for our relationship to change just because we bring kids into the
Yeah,
marriage.
that's very much a possibility. My last boss said his marriage ended in a divorce because of kids. That's what he said. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but every couple handles it differently, and there's apparently the whole world handles it pretty well, but a possibility to be considered.
Something that scares me is that I feel I am great with kids, but I'm great with kids from newborn to about 9. I don't feel that I have enough experience being around kids that are like from age like 11 to 14. I'm not so sure I would know what to do with them, but of course that comes with parenting, figuring it out.
That's true, and we probably have some help with our parents to figure things out.
Also, picturing our lifestyle and how we want to continue living our life with kids or without kids. You know, if we don't have kids, I feel we need to do something like big and major with our life. You know, if you decide not to have kids and then never go on a vacation, then why did we not have kids?
Yeah, and to be fair, we aren't really like the world travelers or...
We like the occasional, trip, but...
Yeah, I don't see ourselves as being some exceptionally adventurous couple. We pretty much have mundane lives, and this is probably the most interesting thing that we do, to be honest. So yeah, we are not gonna pack our bags and travel the globe and like, let's go to China or something. That's not really us.
But people who do pack up with their kids and take them to Japan and China and just constantly traveling, I think that's so amazing. But that requires a certain level of patience and flexibility in your life that I'm not so sure either of us really have.
Yeah, plus I've seen kids on a 16-hour flight to India. Trust me, that's not fun. Those parents couldn't sleep while we dozed off.
But when we went to India, there were newborn twins on the flight and they were good. But their parents were standing up the entire 16-hour flight, bouncing them. So the babies were quiet, but the parents got quite the leg workout.
One more important aspect to be considered is kids are expensive. You gotta pay for right from diapers to college to probably a wedding. So there's a lot of checks to be written.
And actually, something that we haven't fully discussed, we've just barely scratched the surface, are there's different expectations of necessities in America versus India. In America, everybody, I would say 90% of kids get their wisdom teeth removed. Most kids grow up with braces. After braces, you move into a retainer. Those things are just completely standard in America, whereas in India, it's not as common, and therefore is not an expense.
Yeah, I've been to the dentist once, and if you guys always go and it's just me, forgive me, but I never saw any of my friends go to the dentist for no reason. So that's what I thought was the norm.
But the point is, there are so many expenses that go in with kid. Most people have 2 kids, and a lot of people have 4 kids. That just multiplies all of the expenses.
Yeah, do we have to get a bigger car because they won't fit in this one? And the next time we go to a McDonald's or a Taco Bell, the order size is gonna be bigger. And I know it seems like we're cribbing about minor expenses, but they are actually expenses. You can't like retire at 40 if you're gonna have kids. You've got to pay for a lot of stuff.
And we want to be able to uphold a nice lifestyle and take our kids on nice vacations and experience the world.
Do you know how expensive Disney World is? Woo.
Yeah, I can tell you, and it's only going up. Other things, though, that you don't want to miss out on are, taking your kids to their first big soccer game or their big dance recital. And those are things that I think that I could live vicariously through your sister and my sister with their kids. However, we don't get the luxury of living next to them. My sister lives a 6-hour airplane ride away in California, and your sister-in-law lives in India.
Yeah, my niece is the cutest, and she is as mature as an 18-year-old, being like 5. But the problem is she's on the other side of the globe, and I only see her through a video call. That's all I get.
I really think we could get our baby fix just from secondhand of our nieces and our nephew, but we can't hold them.
Well, there are certainly some good points, like if we just continue to do this, I have a feeling, no disrespect, our lives could get pretty boring because I'd just be going to work and we'd come back home, watch some TV, some Netflix, and that's about it. Like there'll be no big events to look forward to. There'll be no high school graduations, no one's going on a date, there's no weddings.
And at the risk of completely outing ourselves, we're not the most social butterflies. So it's not like we won't have kids, but we have parties and that fancy party we go to and a Halloween party. That's not really who we are.
Yeah, so I do feel kids are kind of a good way to relive good memories you had. You can't really grow younger, but essentially you can sort of live through that.
And expand our horizons, and also, at the risk of sounding selfish, meet other like-minded people like us. Who better to meet than other parents at the soccer field,
Who are sharing your misery or happiness.
Also because we live in a state that neither of us have family in. So, sometimes you grow up and you get married and you stay in the same town that you went to high school in and that your family is in, and that's awesome, and you kind of have a built-in network. Neither of us have that advantage, being in a state and a city and a portion of the country that neither of us are from. So expanding our network would come naturally through having kids, and I feel like that would be really beneficial for just our life quality in general.
Yeah, and in case we are cribbing too much about expenses, if the kid turns out good, they also take care of us when we're old, you know? Not that we're gonna milk the kid for money, but it's always nice to have a kid. You know, when I'm like 70 and probably doing nothing and pretty much useless apart from milking on medical bills, it'd be nice to have a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, to be honest, so that there's more to a family than just the two of us, quite frankly, if I die, there's probably no one for her, so she has some company in this world.
Oh, honey, I'll find someone else.
Well, you can find someone else pretty easy now. When we are 60, those will be slim pickings. Let's just say that. Plus, being a kid these days is not easy. They gotta post for Instagram every 2 days.
That's just another expense. A cell phone. We did not get cell phones until we were in high school, late in high school, and now a kid has an iPad before they're even out of the crib.
Yeah, this is actually my first ever laptop. I never had a laptop before this, so let's not get into how old I am.
Which means have a kid in 2 years doesn't really work for you anymore.
Yeah, and all this discussion could just go south if, you know, if everything doesn't work right like it should. So all this discussion is we are hoping that things work out, but if it doesn't, well, what can we do about it?
Nothing. All right, a weird situation that no other generation has really been, a part of is you can deny it all you want, but everybody in our age group is addicted to social media. We are addicted to Instagram, and now TikTok is a thing. And, it's that constant self-gratification. And I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that when you have a kid, you're going to resent all of the attention not being on you. But at the same time, I'm saying it's going to be a weird feeling for kids our age to have a complete shift in the world where everything isn't at all about you anymore. It's all about a baby. And I think that this is going to be a weird situation for a lot of kids our age.
Plus, the added responsibility is what I always wondered about. Like, the kids are going to be off school, so you got to go pick them up at the exact same time. And now I can't just stay up till 2 a.m. and watch a movie without the kid's gonna wake up, So there's a bunch of responsibilities that come as a part and parcel.
Are we gonna be parents where I'm able to be a stay-at-home mom? Are we both gonna work the whole time? Those are questions that you can't really answer at the moment. The chips just kind of have to fall where they may.
Plus, after all this, the kid could turn out to be a real brat,
Yeah, environmental factors are still a big part, and that means the community where they grow up in, the friends that they have. Just because we were both really good kids and we were always friends with our mom, I'm a mama's girl, he's a mama's boy, doesn't mean our kids are going to follow suit.
I know, because that mainly depends on the friends and the factors they are exposed to. So if you have a real bratty teenager, well, what can you do?
It's all just a phase that we hope we can get through.
Yeah, it's a miserable couple of years to get through, and hopefully there are other factors that weigh those things out.
Of course there are, but then I'm also somebody who recycles and just worries about the environmental future for our kids, and I wouldn't want to bring a child into the world that's coming into something that is doomed. I don't want to think that the world is doomed, but you don't know. So something else major that we and other couples similar to us would need to consider is if you're very opinionated on the religion and the culture that you grew up in, and there are steadfast things that you want to instill in your child's life, it's important for us to discuss those things immediately. We don't really have as big of an issue because we are actually the same religion.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a lot of differences we have, which we feel is going to be super cool right now, but most of these differences are going to come up after a decade, when we are crabby people and we may not really give up our side of... In all fairness, I do feel there's quite a bit of life ahead, at least I hope, unless a car hits me. So I feel I would like my life to be more fun, like not a routine of just working 9 to 5, which I do not too much fun.
Have a greater purpose. Which, of course, you can get a greater purpose not having kids. I mean, we have a rescue dog. If, the less kids you have, the more money you have for animals. Animals aren't cheap. Boarding costs, vet costs, so you can still go on vacations and have animals. You can volunteer more.
Yeah,
so
but
kids aren't the only way to get that fulfillment. It's just probably the most standard way.
yeah, I feel it's more relatable because you would actually hopefully relive your moments again. And this time you would have someone you can advise and listen to. If the kid's going out on a first date, hopefully they tell me like, hey, this is the guy or the girl. It'll be kind of fun, I feel.
I don't know if I'm ready for dating. I haven't even had a baby and I'm already not ready for them to date.
I think those are the fun stuff that'll, keep life rolling. At this moment, I am leaning towards a kid is a good idea and it's something like I'd like to have in the future. But there is one thing, it's like marriage. Once you do it, you can't take it back. So same with the kid. Once the kid is out here, you can't just let loose of your responsibilities and walk away. It's there for life. So that's why I'd like to take the time to enjoy life like we are like right now for a little bit more. And in the meantime, also have better clarity as to what we want to do going forward. And the points you discussed can be cleared out in the meantime.
Yeah, I don't feel in any way rushed for time to have kids just because as the years go on, it's 2020 and people are having kids so much later in life. People are getting married later in life. Or people are having kids without spouses, and that's completely normal. There's so many ways that you can go about it. However, I just still am not at the point where I'm 100% sure that kids are for me.
This one does keep changing her opinion every time she is on the phone. She's like, I want to have kids, when I want to do this, I want to do that. And the moment she hears something that's not so nice, I'm like, ooh, do we want to have kids?
I just know that I'm somebody that having a baby is not like the purpose, and that's not something that I need to define me. But I know 100% I would love kids.
Yeah, and I have not seen myself as some revolutionary to break social chains and go astray. I've had a pretty standard life so far, and I feel having a kid would be fun, and there's probably a reason why most of them do. But I can surely see why not having a kid is an advantage as well. But right now I'm leaning more towards the yay rather than the nay.
To be frank, COVID-19 did throw a little wrench into my Excel sheet plan of life because we did want to throw in one more big hurrah vacation before we decided to have kids.
Yeah, before we have to buy 3 flight tickets to get anywhere.
And I feel that walking around Japan or London or wherever we go would probably be a little bit more fun if we didn't have like a baby strapped to us. But hey, maybe we'll just have to go with a baby.
And if we do, you guys would know, subscribe to our channel, and let's see, if we keep this going, you guys would find out if we have one.
Please let us know.
I am kind of curious to see how our baby would turn out, to be honest. If everything works right, okay? I'm not saying, oh man, we're just gonna have a baby the moment we snap our fingers. There's a lot more to it, but
there is a lot more to it. I also am a little curious as to what the mix would be. Would it be dark? Would it be light? I'm not sure.
it'd be hilarious if the baby's kind of dark with orange hair. That's something that we just have to find out, I guess.
Guess we'll find out.
Oh, by the way, if you guys have some suggestions and extra points that we should consider, and maybe the wider audience who are watching this should consider, please put them down here, and we read each and every comment, even if it's kind of negative.
Please let us know, your thought process and the moment that you decide, like what the turning point was that made you say like, okay, right now we're gonna have kids. I know that no one is ready to have a baby when they have a baby. You're never financially perfect. You're never spiritually perfect. You've never sowed all of your wild oats. You know, there's always like one last thing that you want to do. So there's never a perfect timing. But what was that one moment that you said, okay, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have a kid.
Or was it a mistake? You know?
But don't tell your kid.
So yeah, it'd be really good to know how you took the plunge, and it would really help our decision as well. So we'd really appreciate your inputs.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, and
Make sure to subscribe to our TikTok and our Instagram and our Facebook page to stay tuned to our latest behind the scenes events. We share a lot of embarrassing bloopers. At Korea in the States, we're not afraid to put, what's real out there. Most of the time, I don't have my hair done, and I never wear makeup.
that's a lot of things to subscribe. Well, how do you have a life after that?
Social media is hard.
But hit that red button down there, please.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you guys.